You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. What up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. And today we got some indie goodness coming at you. Man, we got two awesome creators, a writer and artist. They got a kick-ass project out now. That's right. You know what? I mean, actually coming out. It's a project that's where you could help as well. So let's bring in artist, writer, the team. You know, we're going to be talking about the origin story, the bromance, the excellence of the book. Don Nguyen and Mike Tanner. Welcome to the Comic Crusaders. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No, thank you for coming on and reaching out. Shout out to Kev for putting us together to chat about this awesome project you guys got going. But if you guys seen the show, you know what it's about first, that origin story. So let's start with Don. Don, tell us a little bit about yourself, your origin story of where you're from and how you got into fandom.
Okay, I love comics. I discovered comics probably when I was like 5 or 6. First time was my mom took me to a library and just sat me down in the kids section, and I found out some of the favorite TV shows I was watching as a kid, like old Batman 66 and syndication, Spider-Man and Friends. All those cartoons were based in comic books. It was the first time I discovered comics. I started with like John Byrd's X-Men, and he had also just done Man of Steel, I think. So it was around that time. Walt Simonson's Thor. Walt Simonson's are always
good times, bro. Good times.
So those are my original comics. I read the original Detective Comics. You know, Bob Kane, Bill Finger. I was collecting a compendium and an entire compendium of the original Orphan Annie, because Orphan Annie was big when I was a little kid. That musical and the movie had just come out a few years before. So that was my formative childhood of like learning about comics. And then I grew up in particularly in the era of the Image founders. So Image Comics, the 90s comics, that's when I really got into trying to draw comics and like emulate those guys and, try to copy
the rock stars at the time. Hell yeah, right?
So that's how I got started. And I'm a West Coast guy. I was born and raised in Seattle and also spent most of my life in LA. So I'm out here on the West Coast, but try to come out to the East Coast to share some love. So if anybody's going to Baltimore Comic-Con or Heroes Con this year, come find me.
Oh, there we go, man. You answered a question before you even asked it. We'll get into those other appearances in a bit, though. Big Mike, what's popping? Let us know.
Hey, yeah. So I remember my first comic book was Fantastic Four number 299. Had a bright yellow cover with She-Hulk punching the Thing through a yellow brick wall with Spider-Man on the cover. And I knew Spider-Man from the cartoons that I watched. And I got that issue, did not understand anything that was going on, but I knew that I liked the art and I liked the way the characters looked, and that kind of started me down the path. And then I was always a Marvel kid. And then kind of in high school, as high school kids do, I got into like Vertigo. I got into Sandman, got into Hellblazer, got into that kind of thing.
Were you a goth kid?
No, but I did play role-playing games, and like the Venn diagram of goths and role-playing in Vertigo Comics is like right there. So and then that's I grew up in Montana and then continued to just move west, and I ended up in LA for a very long period of time, and that's where I met Don.
Oh, okay. Bromance started there. But Don, you growing up, was it easy to find your clique, your tribe? As a nerd, were you alone in your journey, or did you have at least someone or a group of people that you could share with?
My group didn't come about probably until I was in my teen years, because as a kid I was just like this weird little kid who kind of kept to himself a lot and would draw. And so your friends are your friends, like in kindergarten and stuff. But in terms of my nerding out with my friends, like one of my best friends was from junior high, still is a friend till today. And we grew up, collecting comics and like sports cards and stuff. So that's when I started to find my clique. And I left comics for a really long time. In college, I was out, man. I had sold off my collection. I was like, I need money to go to school. And then it was about 14 years ago, I started falling back in love with comics. And in 2012, I decided comics is where I wanted to be, and I was going to work at it. and get into this industry like by hook or crook. And I've been just really lucky and fortunate to meet people like Mike Tanner and all the amazing people that I've worked with. And it's really just kind of like, you're blessed. You're in such a good situation that you can rise to meet the opportunities. And so I've been here since.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to touch on, what sparked the creativity, but now we're going to go to Mike. What about you? Was there a tribe for you growing up?
Not really until like middle school. I feel like it was middle school, high school, where connected with those friends. Like in middle school, I had two really good friends who were also way into comics and wanted to do art. So we like made our own comic books, like terrible superhero comics, because we're, definitely influenced by Image. So we did that for a while. And then high school is like, no, you never have friends like you did in high school, right? Like there's something special about those 4 years that just last for the rest of your life. And that's really like, even though we're into different stuff, like some of us were into comics, some of us were into like role-playing games, some of us were like army nerds. We just like we all kind of gelled. So that was like my core group. That was my tribe, were those guys.
Excellent. All right. So now we're going to start where Don had left off about that creative spark. What was the day that you snapped and said, I want to make comics? Was there something in particular going on in life, or what happened?
Oh man, it was I think it was around 2008. It was during the Civil War run of Marvel, and I hadn't been in comics for a minute. It was like at least probably 10 years since I'd even picked up or bought a comic, and I was like one day just decided to walk into a comic book shop, and there on the shelf, like all together, because I think they were all doing different X titles, was Humberto Ramos. He was on Civil War Wolverine. Scotty Young was doing I think it was like all new X-Men. And it was the Magic storyline where she goes back into limbo and hell or purgatory. And then Chris Bachalo was doing the X-Men title. And it was then and there that I realized, first, I can't draw like Jim Lee. I'm not like, a Travis Charest or like an Olivia Coipel, like one of those realistic, like super realistic kind of guys. And I was more of this, I really, settled on the fact that I really love cartooning, and I had like this sort of simple cartoony style. But I saw those three guys on the shelf. I bought all those comics and read them, and then fell hard back in love with comics. And it was then and there I was like, oh man, something just like sparked in me, and I was like, I started drawing again and trying to get into the style of doing comics. And then in 2012, I was in a lucky enough position where I'd been working for the Rand Corporation, which is a well-known think tank out here in
the Rand. What a coincidence!
Yeah. Look at this, right? Rand Corporation. Yeah, everybody jokes they're like Danny Rand. I'm like, no, this is the actual Rand Corporation. So I was working for them for almost a decade, and I kept drawing on like all my paperwork. I would draw on notes that I would give to my employees and stuff. And one of my coworkers was just like, "It looks like you want to be doing something else." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I kind of do." And my wife, and my family, we were in a good enough position where she's like, if you want to switch, just go for it. And I feel like I went for it. And I've been lucky enough just to keep trucking on, and people have been enjoying the work that I've been involved with, and I hope you guys enjoy what Mike Tanner and I are about to drop on you with Battle Grapple Rebel right here. It's a fantastic comic. I'm so excited for you guys to see this, because I think it's some of the best work I personally have done. I think it's some of the most amazing storytelling that Mike Tanner's done. People are sleeping on this dude. You guys don't know, man. This guy is such a great writer. People love Junior Braves, but what he's bringing some heat to this book.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. So let's talk about what sparked that heat, kiddo. When did it happen? When did you
I was actually hanging out with a friend of mine. We were getting some lunch. He had just moved to LA and hadn't seen him in a long time, and we're just sitting around chatting. And we knew each other from like an improv comedy group that we were both in. But he also had trained as a professional wrestler. That was like fascinating to me. So like we're at lunch talking. He was telling me about pro wrestling and such, and how like he had like 2 matches. And in one of them, in his last match, he took a move wrong and had like his front teeth knocked out. And he's like, I don't love this enough to do this to my body. Other guys do. Everyone else, they love it. They can do it. I don't want to do this. So he knew it wasn't for him. But still like that kind of like passion and that like that drive that that people get for that sport, or that sports entertainment activity, was really kind of inspiring. And then we started talking about Star Wars because he's a huge Star Wars fan. And then it just kind of like came into my head. I was like, well, what would pro wrestling be like in the Star Wars universe? Like, how would that how would what we know about like the Star Wars universe in terms of like the galactic politics and the way things work, how would that be reflected in something like professional wrestling? And I wanted to take the very like hard line that it would be professional wrestling. It wouldn't be like gladiatorial combat, because that's what always happens whenever you take something. You're like, oh, it's like pro wrestling, but it's like real and they're actually trying to kill each other. I wanted it to actually be like pro wrestling, where it's a performance. It could easily have been like, are there sitcoms in the Star Wars universe? That same idea of like, what is popular entertainment like in a sci-fi setting? Because we very rarely, if ever, see it. Like even in Star Trek, they're listening to like Bach and Vivaldi, or like the one good thing J.J. Abrams did in the reboots was introduce like Beastie Boys. People remember the Beastie Boys in the Star Trek universe. So it's like that kind of idea of like doing like, what's pop culture like in a culture where you are literally like a galactic, federation, a confederation of planets where there's multiple different kinds of people on different planets, humans and aliens and that kind of thing. Like what did they do for fun? And we centered on pro wrestling. Like pro wrestling is the biggest, most popular thing in the galaxy, and we took it from there.
Damn, I dig that. And let me ask you, were you a big wrestling fan? And if so, did you have any faves?
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, like
Don said, don't go down this world.
Well, yeah, like Don is all like, I kind of know. I'm like, listen, I was raised on this. I know a lot about it. I would come kind of in and out of it like over the years, but man, I was a kid who was like full tilt into WWF. And once we kind of got cable and got access to like TBS, like watching like old school NWA, WCW.
Yeah, man.
And then like, so like my favorites as a kid were like, I loved Macho Man. I love Jake the Snake Roberts. Yeah, and like, of course, because I was a kid, I loved Hulk Hogan. Now, in hindsight, like
and
I see,
Ultimate
like,
Warrior too. I loved too. He was fun to me. It's the energy.
Like he had the energy, like him beating the Honky Tonk Man in like 10 seconds. And I was very lucky that
I did not like Honky Tonk, bro. That was
I loved Honky Tonk as a bad guy. And he also had like a banging theme song, man. The Honky Tonk Man theme song, that's classic.
Now you know he did a good job, because I hated him. Like,
exactly. Yeah, he had the right kind of heat. But man, I had a gadgety uncle who hooked us up with like free satellite TV. So I got to see like all the pay-per-views from like 1980, I think 89 through like 92. Wow. And at that point there's only 4 a year, so it wasn't like a huge deal. But man, I saw like the Mega Powers explode. I saw Hogan, I saw Warrior beat Hogan like live. And that was like huge. And then of course like kind of fell out of it like in high school. And then I remember freshman year in college, like some friends called me and they're like, you gotta start watching WCW. I was like, why? It's like Hulk Hogan turned bad and he's now the leader of like this gang that beats up everyone. You gotta check this out. And so I started watching NWO. It was like awesome. Man. But then I fell in love with like the mid-card guys and the cruiserweights.
Wolfpack,
like watching like Rey Mysterio, watching like Chris Benoit, even though you don't talk about Chris Benoit anymore. But like Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho, all those guys, like those were my meat and potatoes in wrestling. And then like when WWF kind of got interesting, and the Monday Night Wars is great. And then like I kind of come in and out of wrestling, and now I'm way more interested in like indie wrestling and like the smaller promotions, like Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Man.
Yeah.
For real. And Don's like, "Oh yeah, were you a fan of this stuff? Going."
I was a casual fan, and I'm going to tell you for a fact. Excuse me, Mike is like one of the most knowledgeable guys when it comes to wrestling, because I know things like the DDT, suplex. We all know the leg drop, elbow drop coming up from the top rope, but he on one of the panels he wrote a dragon leg screw, and I actually had to go and Google that. And then I got into a deep dive where I was just watching like old video clips of like wrestling. And I had to do it because it's research. I went down that.
Honey, I'm working. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And I was just watching like old Stone Cold Steve Austin, and old like Hulk and Rowdy.
I could imagine the sounds coming out the room the whole night. The family's just wondering. He's like, ooh, oh, and then just dying. Oh man. I mean, but you get loud in those. I love those.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. It's like this book is going to be brought to you by fans of wrestling, fans who grew up with it. Michael has written an incredible script. I can't wait for all the people who've backed so far to be able to read it and check it out. And I think you guys are really going to get to see what wrestling is like once, we pull the curtains back on kayfabe, right? And not only that, but you also are going to see, I feel like I've injected some of my love of wrestling and like the characters and the wrestlers that I grew up with. And I hope I've done the justice that Mike has put on the page of what he's also written in there. And I think you're going to see some of the influence and some of the inspiration of those wrestlers, both then and now, that we've put into these characters. And you're going to see bits and pieces of everybody. And I hope that really shines through and you're going to enjoy it out there. For anybody who's thinking about backing, come on board and check this out. I personally believe it's an incredible project.
Yeah, and we've got a couple days left. We set like a personal goal of hitting 100 backers, and we're so close. We're so close right now. If we do 100 backers, we're going to do the book in color. So of course it's going to be delayed a little bit, but I think the color is going to really pop. But it also works beautifully in black and white thanks to Don's pencils and Dave Wheeler's inks.
Does
it's going to be so good.
Does it ever look beautiful in that?
Yeah, so that cover that you see right there that I did on the top of this one's the variant cover by Brett Waldelli. This cover is mine right here with the little ref robot lifting the arm. All that white space, we're gonna offer you a tier where you can get drawn into that space right there as the audience.
Nice.
So yeah, for $150, you're gonna get a ton of special rewards, and in addition to that, you're gonna be immortalized on a comic book cover. This book's getting made, so you're going to be in there already, which I think is fantastic. And then the other crazy tier that we got, the top tier, which is $200, it opened back up. Unfortunately, we had a backer that their situation changes. We all know that happens to people, so they backed out, which opens up, one person's lost, another person's gained. It opens up the chance for you to get a custom figure of yourself made. Yeah.
Omega as a wrestler, that would be dope.
Yeah,
man.
Dude. Yeah. Come on board, get yourself made as a wrestler. They're doing it in 2 scales, your choice: classic 3 3/4 Star Wars G.I. Joe style size, or the newer like Marvel Legends size 6-inch. We're doing those wrestling figures also in the same scale. So. Yeah, come check it out.
The ladies like them bigger, so yeah, I would definitely get it. You know what I mean?
I think those are 2 crazy rewards. You're not going to get anywhere else, I don't think.
That is dope. And I gotta ask though, how did you guys connect? To do this madness. When did that connection happen?
Oh, we met through a mutual friend, our buddy Tyler from Grand Geek Gathering, and we hang out. We go to the panels. Mike does a lot of panels at San Diego Comic-Con, and we just became friends that way. And the Comic-Con before the pandemic, so that's San Diego 2019, we were hanging poolside at one of the hotels, just having some drinks and burgers. And he goes, "Hey Don, I got a project I think you might be good for." And all he had to do was say, "What do you think about wrestling in the Star Wars universe?" And I was like, "I'm in." That's all he had to tell me. And I was like, "Oh, this sounds great." And then like a week or 2 after, he sent me the script. And I was like, oh my God, I think I just struck gold. The story he's crafted, if you grew up in that 80s era of wrestling, that 90s era of wrestling, and you love that, and you also, I grew up in a time when we didn't have a lot of movies that were sci-fi or like comic book movies. So
we had them. They were horrible, kind of, we had like, how fake that looks. Like, oh my God. It was there for fun,
It was the era of like, I will take whatever I can get. So I grew up loving Star Wars, Star Trek. I didn't discriminate on Battlestar Galactica. Flash Gordon. So knowing that all that is in our background, I think Michael has pulled all that together and created a story that pays homage to that era.
It's a love letter.
It's a love letter to it. And now that he takes it and he sets it in this almost like Blade Runner like future, And yeah, I'm telling you, it's incredible. I think people are gonna be blown away. And the first issue is just an intro, and he just hints at these things, and you already get a sense of where it's gonna go. Yeah, so he teases it out, but it's such a good tease. So
Mike, who thought it would be so teasy as a writer? Come on now.
I mean, you can't give everyone everything they want in the first issue because then they have no reason to come back. You want to whet their appetite for you got to set things up. I know it's hard, like especially when it's a Kickstarter book and there's going to be a gap in between the issues, but you can't rush a good story. Absolutely. Like you got to just trust your audience is going to like get it and like get locked in, and you just got to hold them for as long as you can, but you got to keep it going. So that's where we are. This first issue is setting up this brilliant world while also like telling a good story that I think will surprise kind of people when they get to the end. And then we just we hit the ground running, and like it's planned for 6 issues. And I think people are really going to be blown away by the end.
So let's get them a little teaser right with the video you got right there on that page. Let's do
that. Overcast Comics presents Michael Tanner's Battle Grapple Rebel. A galactic pro wrestler struggles to find his place between the ropes and the realities of galactic politics. Let's get ready to battle.
Man, oh man.
If you like that promo, wait till you're a backer, because in the updates, they do wrestler promos for a few of the characters.
No
They're
way.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I did a bunch of, there's 4 kind of wrestler promos or grappler promos from characters in the book telling people to back the Kickstarter. You can actually see those on YouTube. If you just go to YouTube and Google Battle Grapple Rebel, it'll take you to my channel where I just have the video.
Is it also on the website? Can we get links there or no?
The website actually directs you to the Kickstarter. Yeah. So that'll forward. But just go on YouTube and just punch in Battle Grapple Rebel, and it should bring up the promos, and they're great.
Wonderful. And look at this artwork, man. Look at that line work, man. You know what headspace you got into, Don, while you were doing this? Look at this.
You know, like Michael was talking about, there are wrestling comics out there that are fantastic. So it's not a dig to them. But usually when you get the wrestling comic, it deals in the kayfabe, right? So you get the sense that these characters are out for blood. They're mortal enemies. They're arch nemesis. They're out to get each other. And, we didn't lean that way. The other way we went was what's behind the curtain. So for that, I spent a lot of time trying to pay tribute to the moves and how they're executed. And like I said, I did the deep dives, I watched the videos, and then I had to look at how the moves were executed and then rotate the characters how we need to see them, to see how sometimes, wrestlers call it in the ring. Not all the moves are completely planned out. It's like jazz. Sometimes wrestlers will come on and be like, all right, let's do this. So you get to see a little bit of that. And hopefully, I did justice to the script that Michael laid down. And I think we did a really good job with that. And, like I said, we're all wrestling fans. Michael is just, his technical knowledge of wrestling is fantastic in terms of the sports entertainment side. I'm in it as a casual fan, but Dave Wheeler, he is a guy who brought the inks and brought the lettering to this, and I think he did a beautiful job.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, there's a grittiness and a texture to it.
And letter placement too, it doesn't disturb the art. You get to still see everything. Wonderful job, Where you find homie? Look at this team like Voltron you're building. What's going on?
Homie is deep into wrestling, man. He's got fans and friends who are involved in WWE and AEW. What? You'll see his artwork. That's a part of it. Oh. So this team is legit. We are trying to bring it to the fans out there. And the crazy thing is, you don't even have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this comic. It's essentially just like a blue-collar work ethic hero's journey. If you're just a casual fan of a comic book and you like that hero story, this is also for you.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, and it's sci-fi. we're just adding nuance and textures and layers to it. That's what Michael's done. Mike's brought that additional element and flavor and humor of wrestling, threw it into a sci-fi world. And I really think it's for everybody. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. I hope you guys love the character designs we've come up with.
Yeah, I want to talk about this. Yeah, man, because look how beautiful, but what are the inspirations? Are there any real life inspirations behind any of the characters that we created in this universe? Talk
Yeah,
about
of
that.
course, man. We threw everything in there. I'm gonna let Michael talk about where he came from, then I'll talk about where I came from with this.
All right, bet.
Yeah, so in my pitch document under the character descriptions, I just included 2 like pictures for each character of the kind of the type of wrestler that kind of inspired them. Okay. So, like with Spin, our main character, like where he starts out, I did a picture of like Rocky Maivia when he first showed up. Like not when he was The Rock, when he was Rocky Maivia.
Yeah, I remember.
He was the blue chipper, like he's like a dumb baby face. And then for like Stellar Debris, a picture of like Shawn Michaels, get that idea of like the cocky heel, better than you. Coach Muna, who's like their trainer. It was Fabulous Moolah. And if you've ever seen the documentary Beyond the Mat, there's the when they are interviewing the indie guys, there's their trainer / coach / guy who runs their little fed that they work for. I forget that guy's name, but I know you're talking about. Yeah. So that's like, and Don threw a little bit of like Super Mario in there, and it works.
I see a little Captain Lou too. He's short.
That's Captain Lou, rubber band Lou Albano in there, man, for sure. A little Luis Guzman thrown in too.
Hey, wepa, look at that.
And then so those are like, and that's funny because in this first year, because we are starting like street level indie wrestling, they're all very kind of like they look like dudes, right? Because that's what they can look like. As we get kind of into the story more and we get to see what like the big battle grapple show is, we get to see like the more elaborate costumes, and we get to see the aliens, and we get to see like all the kind of more crazy inspiration, which in that document that I sent Don, like for even those wrestlers I sent in, like hey, this guy's gonna kind of look like Kane and the Predator, like like kind of like mix things up like that.
That would be fun.
So, but we'll get there with issue 2 forward.
I have questions now. I have a question.
Yeah,
what's with this body armor right there? What's that about? I didn't read about that.
Yeah, that's the world behind the ring, behind outside of the gym. So like I told you, we're gonna move out of that wrestling world. So you get to see wrestling in the gym, like how it goes and how it happens. But then you get to delve into the personal lives of these characters and see that too, and see what their struggle is, see what they're dealing with. And I always say that the best stories are told where we can identify. We have archetypes that we all understand. We have that hero's journey that we all get. That's why this book is so good. But on top of that, the world that Michael has built is fantastic. It's such a wonderful playground for storytelling, and the way he sets it and like builds it, you can totally get a sense of what might happen, what could happen, and where we can see things go. And you're going to get to see this intergalactic federation, if you will, at large, and how
I love it. The intergalactic federation. That sounds like a cartoon.
Yeah, and how, like I said, it's that influence of like the things from the 80s and the 90s, and we're going to get to see that in the storytelling, and you're going to get to see how wrestling and sports entertainment plays a key role in that world, and how that affects the public. So I think I personally, as an artist, struck gold with working with Michael Tanner here, and putting the story down for you guys. And like I said, I can't wait for you guys to see, because I think it's so good.
I mean, look at that beautiful art. It is a fantastic story. I read that first issue. I hella enjoyed it. And obviously it leaves me with questions, of course, so I obviously see that there's a plan here. So so how many issues we got in mind, for this?
6 issues.
6 issues.
Plan for 6. And then, like that's what with the title Battle Grapple: Rebel is, if once these 6 issues wrap up and there's a desire to do more, we can always do Battle Grapple something else there, and still tell a different grappler story, or tell a different story set in that world.
So the main words here are Battle Grapple.
Yep. And just to shout out real quick on the cover that you're showing right now, that's Brett Weldelli's cover. He does Southland Tales, which oddly is The Rock was in that, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So there we go. We got a tie right there. So, you're gonna get a little wrestling and everything. 6 degrees, right?
So again, folks, let's go through every single tier. I know they were talking about them biggies too, but let's go ahead and support on every level that you can, because this is what indie comedy is about, right? So,
every dollar helps.
Yeah, right there, curtain jerker. I love that one.
But we got a digital tier, so you can get in. Like I said, every dollar helps, every share, every comment. If you pledge, please come back to the campaign page, leave a comment. That'll show the Kickstarter that you love the project, want to see want to see it get big. They're going to be doing
projects they love.
They're going to be doing trading cards. They're going to have the physical copies available. You're going to have your choice of covers.
For $8, you get a physical and a PDF and your name in the book for $8.
Yeah. There you go.
That's
a hell of a deal, man.
No, that really is. I've seen projects off of this for a whole lot. Kudos. Thank you for thinking about the fans,
We're trying, man. We're trying.
The network version. What's this? I guess 4 PDFs on this bad boy.
Yeah, you also get other titles that are done by Overcast and Ink Studios.
Wow.
They're trying to build their brand, so they're including their books, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Then with that mission, you get the physical, you get some stickers and a trading card. What?
Yeah. You get the start of a trading card. There's going to be a few different trading cards. There's a tier where you'll be able to get the entire set of trading cards.
Oh, what's the set like? How many cards?
I think it's 7 cards, if memory serves.
Right now? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
We're still we're waiting on, we just saw kind of the proofs yet. Because everything's getting delayed, paper shortages, whatnot.
Of course, Well, you gotta start saving your own trees now. Let's go.
We're gonna start pulping it in the backyard.
I know, folks. I'm only joking. Don't be hitting me up, you environmentalists. I'm only joking. All right, jeez. All right, so tag team variant, PDF physical, printed variant sticker print, 2 random battle grappling cards. Look at this for 30. You got 45. You got 65. $150 in that 200 spot, which is dope. Because imagine,
so there you go.
You get your own action figure. You get the books. You're in it. You know what I mean? And who knows? You probably be wrestling, getting your ass beat within the book. But hey.
I think that's the next campaign. We're gonna be able to do a cage match where we throw you in, just hit you with chairs.
Oh shit! You should call that the beat your ass campaign pledge. What do you mean by beat your ass? We'll put you in there, and your favorite wrestler from the comic book will beat your ass.
Just go beat you.
There you go. If you use that, just give me credit. Say Omega inspired the beat your ass.
Yeah. We'll definitely credit you on that tier. We call it Omega. Leg drop tier.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't use ass. I'm sorry. Look at that Kickstarter. If George Carlin were alive, he wouldn't be happy that we can't say that one. No.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for real. So, what else do you guys have planned? Do you really? I know you guys are teasers. I'm pretty sure you guys have something planned after this one. If you got 6, you have that firm. It's like you guys have something else up your sleeve. I feel.
I mean, let's get through this first one, and see if we survive. We just need 10 more backers in order to hit that milestone of 100.
It's right there, folks. Look, let me put it on full screen for you guys to see. 90 backers, 5 days to go. I mean, they've achieved the goal. Bless, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But let's get to that 100, because you could get, again, Don's artwork, beautiful. With those inks and everything by homie. But, imagine you could also see this. Hey, you already got one backer. You want?
Hey.
Salute. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank God.
You're at 91 right now. Did you see that on screen? It was like the stock market ticker.
That just flipped.
Salute to you. God bless. That's dope. But yeah, man, because this is fun stuff. This is what we need. Real escapism. So thank you for doing that. It's wrestling. It's sci-fi, and that battle suit got me curious. I can't really see what else going on beyond that, because I've seen them now on the mat. What's going on after that? So thank you for doing that. Like I see you. Mike, you little W. Let's see what you're doing here, bro.
He's cooking up something. I'm telling you, man.
He's the rock. You smell
This-
what Mike
You
Tanner's
smell what I'm
cooking?
cooking because, like, I think people are just in for. I honestly, not to toot my own horn, and I will toot my own horn when I need to. This story is so freaking good. Like, it was inspiration. Like, this story came to me, like, pulling from a whole bunch of different things. Like, and I think that it does not work the way people think it's going to go. And I think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns that make absolute 100% sense. But I think people are going to be like, I thought I was reading a book about this. And it's going to be like,
nice.
It's just going to blow them away.
What a tease. This guy, he's the comic book stripper. That's what he's doing over here, bro. He strips away a comic, like, and teases you, like, and stop.
I just got my pasties, and they're cool.
Sequential art burlesque, man. We gotta drop it panel by panel, page by page.
Mm.
Yo, look at that. It was Oscar. Yo, shout out
man,
Oscar, bro.
Hey,
Oscar,
thank you, Oscar.
He showed the love. Yo, God bless. Yo, thank you. Saludos, hermano. That's what's popping, bro.
Yeah,
See,
Oscar
that's
and I
love.
got to hang out a bit recently. So, hey, Oscar, I appreciate you coming on board and supporting, man.
Where you guys
That's
hooked
huge.
up at? Talk about, I just spoke to Oscar not too long ago. Awesome dude, man.
Oh,
Amazing
seriously?
creator.
We were at Latinx Comic Art Expo up in Modesto, California.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I hope I got that right. I've been part of so many events in the last few months.
How was that show? How was the shows that you've been doing lately?
Dr.
Now that
Teresa
COVID
Rojas,
got a little easier.
yeah, Dr. Teresa Rojas is the best. Shout out to her and the family up there at Modesto Junior College that handles the Latinx Comic Art Festival. They are just fantastic. Yeah. And, I was out there with Javier Hernandez, my friend Rafael Navarro.
Oh, you were there with Javier Hernandez? Oh, my God. I haven't had him yet. I want to get him on.
Oh, hey, I'll let him know.
Yeah, but I know
have you had Rafael on? Who does Sonambulo?
No.
You gotta get Rafael Navarro on.
Yeah, yes. Bring him on. Just bring him on. Yo, I mean, Comic Crusaders is here for all indie. We love you guys, man, because you guys are the future of this whole joint. I mean, you guys are the ones that are creating some real escapism, because while the big labels are concentrating on other things that, you guys are just having fun like the good old days. And that's what I appreciate. Just fun. As comics should be. I understand every comic had its issues. You understand? But you keep it fun. Like that's not the story right now. This is cool. I
we appreciate
shit out of it.
We appreciate you doing this, man. It means a lot to indies for anybody to give us shine and representation. And the Latinx Comic Art Fest up in Modesto, if anybody's out there in that valley area, like up in Northern Cali, go check that out. It'll be happening again next year.
Yeah. And not just Latinos. We're talking about everyone to go. I mean, check it out,
everyone. And they show love. I was there, and I'm not Latino. I'm Vietnamese. Don Nguyen. Nguyen is the most common.
Hey, let me say that I appreciate the hell out of you for your pronunciation of our Spanish name. Because I'm here like uber impressed as I hear you. I'm like, wow, he's pronunciating the God bless you, homie. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that so much as a Latino. Not saying it with the American accent. It means a lot to me. It really does.
I appreciate.
My name is easy to say. My legal name is very easy, but you say the other ones, bro, it means a lot, especially since you're not Latino. But obviously you grew up around a Latino influence to me.
Yeah, I was out in Los Proyectos.
You were eating out con pollo and all that good shit.
Yeah. Man, obviously we got a huge Latino population here, and then we're talking about not just Mexican, we're talking about Guatemalans, Salvadoreños.
All right, man, pupusas, bro. I fucking love pupusas. Bro.
Who doesn't love pupusa with a little cortido on top?
Oh
right?
my God, you're making me hungry, bro.
Some yuca, yeah, man.
When we hang out, we're gonna go turn into some very big dudes. We're gonna get rolled out of wherever we go when we hook up. I promise.
I am down, man. Just let me know.
That's what I want to know. What cons you gonna do? Because I want people to connect with you guys too, man. Because you guys are dope. I mean, I know, Mike. People will probably do. People ever challenge you on some wrestling trivia that are just aware of your knowledge?
Not yet. I'm hoping at conventions,
All right.
people come up because because I know a lot, but there's some stuff I don't. But I'm also of that age where my deep understanding kind of ends at like 2005. So someone was coming up and be like, well, so like Randy Orton, blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't give a shit about.
How about
Randy
this?
Orton.
You put a sign. Ask me any question about wrestling, and then in parentheses, pre 2005.
Yeah, just like I'll give my parameters.
You gotta qualify it.
So I'm hoping when I'm taking this to shows and whatnot, that I connect with wrestling fans, and we can.
Well, what into it? The tons of wrestlers goes to these cons, so you got to give those to those wrestlers too. Cause I'm sure that they would appreciate the hell of this type of content, man. And get them on screen, selling it. Get the Iron Sheik.
That's the idea. Like, hopefully for issue 2's Kickstarter, we'll have a lot of video of wrestlers holding up issues of issue.
That's what 1. We want, man. So where we going next, guys? Where we going next? Where can we see you guys?
I'll go first because Don's list is way longer than mine.
Oh, really? Okay. Don got a scroll.
Don goes everywhere. Okay, so this for Free Comic Book Day for this weekend, I'll be at Phantasm Comics in Federal Way, Washington. Gonna have like some posters, gonna be like pimping the Kickstarter, but also I'll have some Orcs in Space. That's the other series that I do.
Yes, I know. Orcs in Space only, right?
Yeah. Volume 2 just came out, so I'm gonna have copies of that. So Phantasm in Federal Way, and then in June in LA, I'm going to be at Ronin Expo, which is it's predominantly an anime convention, but our friend Tyler from the Grand Geek Gathering, he's kind of emceeing it, and he's doing a panel for one of our popular panels that we do at conventions called Unnecessary Debates. So I'm going to be on that, and I'll be at a table for Saturday afternoon selling comics as well. That's June 11th. And then I think the weekend after that, I'm going to be at SummerCon here up up by Seattle. I'm not sure if I'm going to be there the whole weekend or for just part of the weekend, but SummerCon, it's a comic book convention, but it's largely a celebrity autograph convention.
Okay. Yeah.
They literally every celebrity alive that was in a genre movie from the 80s is out there. They just got Ian McDermott, so Senator Palpatine's going to be there. But yeah, I think I'm going to be at SummerCon, and that I think is it that I know of for the next few months. And Don, you can begin your list.
Don, give me the scroll, bro. We're ready.
All right, so I'm turning Free Comic Book Day into Free Comic Book 2 weeks. Saturday, the 7th, which is officially Free Comic Book Day, I will be at Heidi Ho Comics in Santa Monica. Shout out to Eddie D'Angelini and Kristen Perez. They're fantastic. Sunday, I'm going to be at the Comic Bug in Culver City doing quick head sketches for free, and also sharing my wares. Yeah, so come get free art. If you ever buy art from me or any of my books, I'll sign it for free. I'll also do a remark for free. Just ask. I do not charge for that stuff. If you want to bring CGC or any of those grading services over, just come on. I don't even care. Just come by. And then the week after, I will be at Collector's Paradise in Pasadena doing a signing out there for their Free Comic Book Month. They got a whole month of things going on.
Oh, Free Comics for a month. Everybody's going to move there now.
Yeah, and then I will be at, speaking of wrestling and wrestlers at conventions, I will be at Comic-Con Revolution Ontario the 21st and 22nd.
There goes Big Shane. Big Shane is saying hello right there.
Shane, thank you.
That's my big homie, Dodgy, much love, kiddo. Hey.
Love it. Thank you so much, Shane. He's one of the first reviews I ever got, and I appreciate you guys shining a light on Pablo the Gorilla. But yeah, come find Pablo the Gorilla, me, and the person who did my variant cover for Pablo the Gorilla, Dustin Nguyen, will also be.
You're gonna be hanging out together. Hey.
We're gonna be hanging out together. I always get mistaken for Dustin Nguyen. People just see the letter D and the last name Nguyen, and they bring me their Detective Comics. And my joke always is, I provide concierge service to Dustin Nguyen at any convention that we're both at. So if you bring me your Batman comics, I will just walk you over to Dustin and personally introduce him to you, and also just sell and pitch every single one of his books, which, by the way, Descender is amazing. Ascender is fantastic. And right now he's got Little Monsters out right now with Jeff Lemire. So shout out to those guys. But yeah, come find me.
Working with the big boys.
Yeah, trying to just, Dustin is one of the nicest guys. I don't know if you've had a chance to meet him, but he's just a fantastic creator and supporter of the comic book community. So, I mean, I just love the guy, and I will do whatever I can to like shine any lights, even though he's huge and he's won 2 Eisners.
No,
if he's ever doing anything.
I hear you, man. You gotta shine light on people that actually celebrate and love the culture, because it's important, especially people that are really enthusiastic. Because I'm not trying to say shit, but I'm gonna talk some shit for a minute, because I've seen other people like interview awesome folks like you and be so stale. I'm like, why don't you have no energy? You know how awesome this is, and they're like trying to be like, yes. I'm like, yo, don't do that. Like, when you have people like Don, like, yo, this guy's a wrestler. Shit. I feel like having some more wrestling themes on right now, because it's But you got to throw all that energy, people. Anytime you talk to people like this, because look what Mike is doing. Look what Don is doing. Like, Mike is bringing that love. Yo, Mike, tell me. One of my favorite things as a kid was when they did that every once in a while. Pre-pay-per-view. Saturday Night Live. Saturday night, the specials on CBS. You remember those?
Yeah. Oh, Saturday night main event.
Main event, yeah. That's where we saw some really good matches for the.
There's a match. It's on YouTube. I recommend everyone go out and watch it, because if you want to watch a Hulk Hogan match that like is decent, watch Hulk Hogan versus the genius Lanny Poffo. Because Lanny Poffo was a great like comedy heel, Randy's little brother. But like somehow Hulk agreed to do a match, and it's almost a squash match, except it goes on a long time. So it's like it's Lanny playing to the audience, it's Hulk playing to the audience, and it is a very entertaining match. There's some problematic stuff in it because the way Lanny was portrayed,
but it's Hogan too.
Yeah, like I would say, it's the 80s. That was like, I remember that match. Like, I did not remember that I remember that match until I stumbled upon it on YouTube, and I was like, wait a second. I remember this. Is Hulk gonna do? And it was like, oh my god, I remember this. I remember this match that I saw literally once at this point 35 years ago.
Oh damn!
At least,
obviously don't
and
smoke
I still
weed,
remembered it.
You must not smoke weed if you remember that far.
Mine's in gummy form when I want to. But yeah, like that, like classic Saturday night main event. And if you've got the Peacock, the NBC streaming service, you can also get the WWE
Can we call it
network.
Just Peacock?
Peacock.
Everybody's been calling it that.
Yes, Peacock.
I got the Peacock. Like, you can check out, like, as much as I don't like to give WWE money because they're a terrible company run by terrible people. But like, watch the old school stuff, like if you can on streaming, and there's a lot of
Mike,
gold back there.
Mike and Don, bro. When I was growing up, my next door neighbor used to buy the tapes of the old school 70s matches. We're talking about the blood matches, the barbed wire matches on videotape.
Oh yeah.
So I was knocking on his door. I'd be like, yo, did you get any cool tapes? Because, I'm there with my boys. He's like, yo, you got to see this wrestling match. And then all the boys go over to his crib, and he's putting on the bloodiest match you ever see. I'm like, yo, how the fuck did they even allow this? I mean, the homies bleeding to death. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. I mean, great matches, bro. Carlito Colon, Dusty Rhodes, fucking Bob Backlund, all those homies, back in the day and shit.
Nobody bled like Dusty back in the day.
Nobody, bro. No one, bro. You need to put a cote on his head just to stop the bleeding. That's how thick it was. For real, bro. What happened? Bro? It was so much fun and crazy back then.
I mean, like, bloodborne diseases became an issue.
Oh shit! That was another
hepatitis. Was a huge deal. Randy Orton's dad, Bob Orton, has hepatitis.
Because of that?
And he did not tell people that. And he was in a match with the Undertaker with blood. And when the Undertaker found out, he almost kicked the shit out of Bob Orton for not disclosing.
Undertaker was really about to bury his ass.
Yeah. It's like, you did not say that you had this dangerously contagious bloodborne disease when you bled in a match with me. How dare you? Yeah.
When are we gonna get this? The dark side of the wrestling episode.
Right, the dark side of the ring. I think I'm actually on an episode of Dark Side of the Ring. And
which
the audience, the one about, I forget his name. It's the guy who it's one of the most recent ones. He's the guy who like had a lot of problems with drugs and stuff. He like robbed a
most
bank.
of them
He
have.
did jail time.
Oh,
But it's the guy who like he how is it, Gage? I think his
Was
name
it
is Gage.
was it Gage?
I think it was Gage.
Yeah.
He might have been Gage. Yeah.
He flew into LA for an event and found out when he landed that unfortunately his brother had just committed suicide.
Oh,
And he still went to the match and he did the match.
Yeah.
And this is part of the documentary.
Gage,
And I'm
yeah.
in like the fourth row, and you can clearly see me and my friend Mike and Bobby like in the audience on that documentary.
Oh, funny. Crazy.
Yeah, he cuts a promo before the match where he talks about his brother, and you're like, is this a shoot or is this part of the show? And you like, we're sure, but at that point,
Yeah.
like people in the audience had heard, and they're like, no, this is like real, like his brother.
No,
is actually
homie, I'm
dead.
sorry.
And it's like, whoa. And then of course, like the heel then attacks him, and you're like, wrestling is still wrestling. Like the show must go on.
Bro,
It's-
you know
it's
what?
wild.
If I'm having those emotions, you just hit me, I'm gonna really beat your ass in the ring.
Yeah.
For real, how dare you right now? I gotta
Yeah.
go. You're trying to get the show on. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna go the show on there. I ain't Chris Rock. So what do you guys think about that show overall? The exploration to the dark side of wrestling that we weren't very aware of.
I mean, there's
What's
like it's
going
the nature of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
It's like honestly, it's outsider art, right? Like I believe pro wrestling is an art form. Because
Absolutely.
they're absolutely athletes, and it is a physical
they are.
thing, but it's not an actual sport because they're not actually competing.
Again,
so it's
Mr.
closer.
Man's coin of sports entertainment is like perfect.
Yeah.
It's like it's a performance art, and as an art, like it attracted like its roots in like carnies and like sideshows and that kind of thing, and that never left.
Yeah.
So you'd have of course, like people with issues would gravitate to it. Same way, like art, like just art in general. Like no one's working a 9 to 5 who like none of those guys want to work a 9 to 5, and you got to find some way to live. And these guys physically could do it, and it interested them. And so it's going to attract all different kinds of people. And some of those people are going to be really messed up. And the different, like the Grizzly Smith episode.
Yeah, yo, crazy.
Like, and hearing like Jim Cornette, like listen to Jim Cornette talk about it. He's like, on some level, we all kind of knew, but we didn't know. We just thought it was weird. We're like, why is Grizzly always traveling with these girls? Like they knew, but it's also like, but like, why is he with these? Like, it must be okay. The cops aren't after him. It, like they didn't understand. Like it was really messed up. But they like, that's just what they thought was normal and what they accepted.
Yeah, but I mean that's crazy at the time. Those episodes blew my mind for real.
Yeah,
insane.
And you know, on some level, those guys are also like rock stars. They achieve that fame within the genre, within the community, and it's that like athlete rock star mentality sometimes too.
Especially like 70s and 80s when they were pulling in a lot of money and there was so much drugs, much sex. Like they were like rock stars.
Would you fight these guys? They probably coked up in the ring. You know, assumptions, folks are saying, but you never know. I mean, and like, yo, are you sure you could perform tonight? Like, yo, I didn't want you breaking my neck. You know, I'm a blunt smoking out of cocaine. You know, I mean, back then they were doing that stuff. Like the episode that killed me was the one that the possibility that Carlito Colon, being involved in that stabbing with that homie, the death of. I mean, I was like, yo, my Puerto Rican people were that dirty.
Oh yeah, Bruiser Brody.
Bro, that episode. I was like,
they keep talking about that being a movie.
They should.
I know, like that story.
Mike, you need to write the movie.
Movie.
It's like the Boogie Nights of wrestling, man.
Bro, write the movie, Mike. It's time. And Don could do the whole storyboard for you.
Storyboard.
Don does storyboards, man. Yeah.
I do.
I know he does.
Is this the origin of the Bruiser Brody movie right here?
Yeah, bro, right here. I think, Mike, bro, if you understand that story, get her done. I hope that's the inspiration behind this podcast. Yo, besides this awesome book that we have one back at go live at the stock market. I love it. Thank you again, Oscar.
Appreciate it, Oscar.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yo, we need to get this done. You know, you gotta support this. We gotta support this idea. Mike, get it done, bro. You got a storyboard artist, and you're gonna have a hell of a promoter behind you. I'll flavor for you. I'll dance. I'll wear a big clock and all of you want. Hey, come on now.
Nice.
Well,
get it done.
I was gonna say, come find me at the rest of the shows too. So June is Heroes Con. July, we're gonna be at San Diego Comic-Con. September, Rose City Comic-Con in Portland. And then October is Baltimore Comic-Con. Those are my 2 East Coast shows. Heroes and Baltimore.
Bet. Awesome. I wish I was close to those, bro. If you ever come to Florida, let me know.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah, but we're gonna eat good, I promise you. We got some Puerto Rican, Dominican food out here.
Where are you in Florida?
Orlando, right off in Winter Park.
Nice.
Okay.
It's very nice.
Get some mofongo.
Oh man, over here, I'm telling you, but this is like the United Nations of food over here, my brother. I'm lucky I have not been rolling out of here. You understand? I'm lucky I fast in the morning. Very important to fast in the morning, folks. It helps keep things in line, yo. Do that for real. Good stuff. But bro, Mike, Don, you guys have been nothing but amazing guests. Guys, please visit Battle, Grapple, Rebel, as it sounds.com. 3 days to go. Let's get to those 100 backers. Get this bad boy in color. While you may love Dons and homies, inks in the black and whites and all. I mean, let's get it in color too. Show that love to Indie. You can follow Don
in color.
Oh yeah, follow Mike and Don right here on Twitter. You see it on screen, folks. All right, same thing with the Instagrams, bro. And like, geez, Mike, could you not pick a longer name? Leisure at the Black Lagoon. You would be typing there for a half hour. Like, wait, one finger at a time.
You gotta earn it. Yeah,
he's making you work, folks. Yeah, he ain't lying.
Is that a play on Creature of the Black Lagoon and SpongeBob?
I'm pretty
sure. No, just the creature for the Black Lagoon.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. What's the SpongeBob reference?
Leisure at the Blue Lagoon.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, damn. Now I have to change it because I don't know SpongeBob. But
next time you're gonna wear a yellow shirt and everything, and it'll be fun.
Yeah,
don't you worry. No,
I always see that Tom Kenny on the train to SDCC.
You guys are awesome, man. Yo, bless. Thank you for hanging out. Yo, Flowers Time. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for sharing in your talent and your skill, your creativity with us. And putting yourselves out there, because that's vulnerability, and and putting your stuff out there to the world and showing it off. Thank you for what you're doing, because you're doing an incredible job. I definitely appreciate the hell of the book. I laughed, I smiled. I'm curious now, so job well done, guys. Because if you make me curious for an issue 2, obviously that means I'm hooked like a fish. So so keep reeling me in, guys, because you got me. All right.
Thank you so much for having us on, man. We appreciate your time and what you do for indies, and look forward to coming back.
Oh, thank you. You're definitely coming back. This is your home now. And with that, I'm Al Mega with Don and Big Mike. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. ¡Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at Undercover.com. And also make sure to download the Crusaders app in the Google Play Store today.